Well, hello there. My name is Charles H. Clyburn, and I am a storyteller. Yes, storyteller. Now, some people get that confused with reading stories. You will notice I have no book. Yes, I'm not going to read you a story today. I have read a lot of stories. I have a lot of books at home, but I have committed those stories to my memory. Yeah, I got to tell you though, one time I was telling stories, I was about to tell stories at a playground, and as I was walking across the fields to get to the shaded area where they had assigned me to go, a little boy was walking next to me, and he said to me, "Are you the storyteller?" And I said, "Yes, I am." And he said to me, "Where's your book?" I said, "Well, I don't have a book." He said, "Well, how are you going to tell stories then?" I said, "Well, I think I remember them." And he looked at me very suspiciously and said, "I sure hope so." So I can understand how skeptical someone may be when they say, "Are you a storyteller? You don't have a book? How are you going to tell stories?" Well, I think I remember them. So now, you've tuned into this program, and maybe you don't know what it is. Maybe this is your first time. I want to say welcome to those of you who are watching me for the first time, watching this program for the first time. This is not the first program we've had. This is called The Art of Storytelling. And I'm so glad to be the host of this program. So glad that Laurel Comcast Cable has invited me to be a part of this. And we're going to be doing a series of these. We're going to be having other guests. We're going to have other storytellers. So we hope that you will come and visit us again. Now, for those of you who are watching us for a second time, we want to welcome you back. And we're glad to know that you at least enjoyed it enough the first time to watch again. Or maybe you're watching to see, can he really do that again? Well, I tell you this, I'm not going to tell the same story I told the first time. So be aware that every week we will have a different program. So you don't have to worry about missing one, okay? So you can catch up on the next one. So, the art of storytelling. So for those of you who weren't here the first time, let me just give you a brief history. I'm a griot. G-R-I-O-T, but we don't pronounce the T, it's silent. Griots. Griots are master storytellers. Storytellers that came from the regions of West Africa where my ancestors came from, particularly from the Yoruba people. And so they would come and tell stories. They also were historians. They would keep the history of things that went on, but they were mainly storytellers. And they would come and tell stories. They'd sit around the campfire, and the elders would gather, and the children would gather, and they would all listen to the stories that the griots would tell. Now, in order to get ready for the story to be told, they would always ask the question, "Ago?" which very simply means, are you ready to listen to the story? So, and then they were ready to listen, the children and everyone would say, "Ame," which means, yes, I am ready. Yes, I will listen. Yes, I will be attentive. And so, whenever I get ready to tell a story, I always say, "Ago," and you will say, "Thank you very much. You got it." All right. So, we will be telling stories. We'll have other people coming to tell stories. But one of the questions that I'm always asked, when I go to tell stories, especially to children, they always ask me, how did you get those stories? Where did they come from? How did you commit those to memory? Well, okay, let me tell you. First of all, I have read a lot of books. I always am reading a book. And a lot of those books have stories in them. Some of those stories you don't even know who wrote them. I have stories that I can't even tell you where they came from. And I've been telling stories when people go, how long have you been telling stories? I'd like to think I've been telling stories for most of my life. An art form that I got from my grandfather and my father, because they always told stories. They were always telling me stories. And some of them they got from their own lives. Some of them they got from books that they read, I'm sure. And to tell you the truth, I think they made up some of them. But I would never ask that, and I would never let them know that I thought that either, okay? Because I believed in everything that my father and my grandfather said, and when they told those stories, they were always entertaining. Some of them were educational. I learned a lot from listening to those stories. So hopefully the stories that we will tell during the course of this program, not just this one, but in programs to come, you will learn from those stories. So, okay. The other question and I'll answer the question about how I get the stories. I got them from reading. I got them from other people. And to be honest with you, I've listened to other storytellers. And I have used their stories. Okay, I'll admit it. But everybody does, because a story is a story is a story that is being told from one person to another. And so when that other person tells it, it becomes their story. And when they tell it to you, then it becomes your story. And you can tell it however you want to. There's nothing copyrighted about a story. It's a story. And so you can tell it to whomever. You don't have to say, I got it from that guy on TV that was on that Laurel channel. You don't have to say that. It's Charles Clyburn, by the way. But you don't have to say that. You can just tell the story. And the other thing people ask me is, how many stories do you know? Be quite honest with you, I don't know either. I've never sat down and wrote them down. I've never sat down and tried to say, okay, I know this many stories, that many stories. When people call me and say, would you come to our Boy Scout troop meeting? Would you come to our school? Would you come to our community center? Would you come to our senior citizens center and tell stories? They ask me, well, how long do you need? And I always say, how long do you want? I can tell stories for a long time. And I try not to be boring, but it's how long do you want the program to be? So, I don't know how many stories I tell. Maybe during the course of this series of programs called The Art of Storytelling, you may hear all of them. I don't know. Maybe. Stay tuned, though, because you never know when you're going to hear a new one. Now, back to the question of where do I get the stories from? That's very interesting. I said I read. Okay. But I listen. I listen to other people. I listen to my grandfather. I listen to my father. I listen to other people tell stories. And so I take them as my own because they gave them to me. So that's another way I learned. But I want to tell you, in African-American folk tales, which I tell, a lot of the stories are talked, the subject of those stories are about animals. And because the people in the western part of Africa knew about animals, they knew, for instance, that spiders were creepy and crawly, and that spiders could spin a web that no one else can duplicate. A spider web can never be duplicated by anyone else. Man, as powerful as we are, as we can send people to the moon, we can create images on television, we can do all these things, but we can never, ever, ever duplicate a spider web. And so A web, as some of you know about Spider-Man, he created that web, but no one else could do that. Now, in the African folk tales, there is a number of stories that are told about a spider. The spider's name is Anansi, A-N-A-N-S-I, Anansi the spider. Not only does Anansi have the ability to spin this web, but Anansi is clever and sly. But he likes to play tricks also. In fact, the saying goes, Anansi the spider, clever and sly. No one can fool him, but many still try. But Anansi was clever and sly because he has to live by his wits. Spiders don't have claws. Spiders don't have teeth. They don't have anything to defend themselves from larger animals, from predators. They don't have any way to capture their food. They can't hunt. They can't kill things. So the way they do it is they spin this web where they capture their food. So spiders have to be clever and sly because they must live by their wits. But Anansi the spider is a very special kind of spider. Many tales are written about Anansi. But I want to tell you this one, because if you wonder about how stories get moved around, I want to tell you how Anansi brought the stories down to earth. Now, the way Anansi did that was he knew that all the stories belong to Naimi, the sky god. And he wanted those stories. So Anansi one day spun a web up to the sky where he addressed Naimi, the sky god. Naimi was sitting in his royal throne, as he was prone to do. He saw Anansi coming, and he said, "Oh my goodness, here comes that bothersome little spider. I know he either wants to play a trick on me or he wants to do something, so I am going to try to ignore him." So he sat down in his throne, and he saw Anansi coming, and he just turned away from him. And Anansi knew he was not to be ignored, so he spun a web around the sky god's throne, and the sky god Naimi could not ignore him anymore. And he said, "Anansi, what do you want? Don't you see I'm busy? I have things to do." Anansi said, "Naimi, I have come here today to ask you for your stories. I know that you have all the stories in the world, and I want them for myself." Naimi said, "You are a pest. Do you know that kings and queens and princes have come to me and asked me for my stories? I have refused to give them to him. And why? They have offered me many treasures, gold and silver and pearls." And he said, "Why do you think I have not given them to them? Because I don't give up my stories to anyone. So you know, if you come up here to ask me for my stories, you might as well spin your web back down to earth and go away and leave me alone." Anansi said, "I am not going to do that. I want your stories, and I will do whatever it takes to get them." Naimi said, "Please go away. Don't you see I am busy? I have to plan the weather. I have to tell the people in Laurel, Maryland, what the weather is going to be like tomorrow. So would you please go away and leave me alone?" Anansi said, "I'm not going anywhere. I will stay here. I will spin a web around your throne. I will spin a web around the heavens. I am not going anywhere until you give me the stories." Naimi said, "All right. People tell me that you are clever and sly. And apparently you are sly enough to come up here and ask me for this. So I'm going to see how clever you are. I'm going to give you 3 things to do. And if you do those, I will give you my stories. And Nancy said, fine, what are they? What are they? Naomi said, all right. The first one you have to do is you have to bring me a crocodile with no teeth. Nancy said, that is impossible. You know and I know that crocodiles have those great big teeth in their mouth, and when they open it up and they clamp down, shut like that, those teeth will eat anything alive. Naomi said, I know that, and now I know that you know that, but you must bring me a crocodile with no teeth. So, Anansi spun his web back down to earth, and he got down to the river where he saw the crocodiles, and he saw them all, and he knew that they had all those great big teeth in their mouth. He couldn't figure out how to do this. So what he did was he saw a great big rock. He took some grass and twigs and leaves, and he covered up the rock so that it looked green. And so he saw a crocodile. He said, Crocodile, how are you today? Crocodile said, I'm all right. He said, but I'm hungry. And Nancy said, you crocodiles are always hungry. He said, what can I do? He said, well, the crocodile said, well, I'd eat you, but you're a little too small. I need something bigger than that to put in my belly. And Nancy said, I know where you can get a great big meal. Crocodile said, where? And Nancy said, right over there, there's a big frog laying there. And the crocodile looked, he said, that doesn't look like any frog to me. Looks like a great big rock. And Nancy said, you know what? It is a frog who is pretending to look like a rock because he wants to fool you. Crocodile said, oh, really? Well, he's not going to fool me. I'm going to go over there and eat him up. Crocodile went over there, opened up that great big mouth, wrapped it around that rock, and clamped down. Oh! Broke every tooth in his mouth. Anansi spun that web around that crocodile, spun that web back up to the heavens where Naomi, the sky god, was sitting on his throne. And he looked at Anansi. He said, what do you have there? Anansi said, what you asked me for, Naomi. You asked me for a crocodile with no teeth. I have brought you just that. And the sky god said, well, now, you are truly a clever spider. And that's wonderful. But now, I must tell you, that's only the first thing. You've done that, but now there are 2 more. And the second one you have to do, you have to bring me a hornet's nest that is empty. Naomi, you've got to be kidding me, said Anansi. I can't go near those hornets. They sting like fire. I'll get stung, and I just can't do that. Naomi said, well, that's what you have to do. And if not, then I guess you won't get the stories. Anansi said, no, I'll take care of it. He spun his web back down to earth. And he saw that the hornet's nest was up in a tree. It was way up high on a branch. And so what Anansi did was he saw the hornets buzzing around. He went down to the water, and he got a gourd. The gourds were around. They were hollow. And so he took this gourd, and he filled it up with water. He spun a web all the way up on the highest point of the tree he could find, way up above the hornet's nest. And he took it and he spilled the water on the hornet's nest. And he said, hornets, hornets, it's raining so hard that if you don't leave there, you're going to drown. But I have a new home for you right here. And the hornets buzzed around and buzzed around. The water was falling down, so they buzzed on into the empty gourd that Anansi had provided for them, And he laid it upside the branch, and that's where they made their new home. Excuse me. And so now Anansi went up and got the empty hornet's nest, spun his web back up to the sky god, Naimi, who was sitting on his throne when he saw Anansi coming. And he said, Anansi, what is that you have there? And Anansi said, Sky God, I have what you asked me for. You asked me for a crocodile with no teeth, I brought it to you. You asked me for an empty hornet's nest, I have now provided that. Naimi said, you are truly a clever animal. That's amazing. But you have one more thing to do, and that's the last one. And if you do that, you're going to get all the stories. Anansi said, fine, just tell me what it is. I'm ready. He said, all right, Anansi, you must bring me a monkey that cannot talk. Anansi said, now, Naimi, you've given me impossible tasks before, and I've completed them, but this one is outrageous. There is no way I can ever get a monkey to stop talking. Everybody knows monkeys are always chattering, always making noise. They never stop talking. Naimi said, I can't help that. I'm telling you this is what you need to do, and if you do it, you got the stories. So Anansi spun his web back down to earth, and he got down there, and he looked up in the trees, and he saw the monkeys swinging on the vines, and there were a lot of them, and they're all making noise. Anansi said, how in the world am I ever going to stop them from talking? So one of the monkeys climbed down out of the tree, came down to the river to get a drink of water. Anansi was there, and he said to the monkey, Monkey, how are you today? Monkey said, oh, I'm fine. I'm very good. I'm just having a good time swimming around the trees with my friends. How are you today? Anansi said, whew, you can talk a lot. He said, I'm okay, but I have a little problem. And the monkey said, well, what is it? You can tell me. Just tell me, and I'll listen to you. And I said, okay, well, the king just passed by, and he told me a secret. And I'm not supposed to tell anybody, but I want to tell somebody. Monkey said, well, you can tell me. You know, I'm your friend. You can tell me, and it'll be our secret. You can tell me anything you want to. Anansi said, okay, all right, listen. I'm not supposed to tell you, but I'm going to tell you. Now, you've got to promise not to tell anybody, and you've got to promise not to try to do what I'm telling you. And the monkey said, okay, just tell me. I won't tell anybody. I won't even tell my friends. I'll just listen to you. Ooh, and I said, all right. I said, stop talking for a minute. He said, now listen. The king came through here, and he said to me that he would give all the riches in the kingdom to the animal who could stuff 10 cola nuts into his mouth and still talk. The monkey said, well, I can do that. I'm the one. I can get all the riches. I can do that. And I said, look, I'm telling you, you can't do it. That's why he told me it was a secret, so because he knew nobody could do it. He said, besides, you can, and cola nuts, they're not as big as coconuts, but they're little, they're small, but you can still, 10 of them in your mouth is just impossible. The monkey said, oh no, I can do it, because I love to talk anyway, but I can do it. I just put them in my mouth and I can do it. And I said, oh my goodness, okay, all right, listen. Okay, I'm going to let you try. So here, we'll take 3 cola nuts and put them in your mouth. Boom, boom, boom. Monkey said, okay, yeah, okay. He put them in his mouth. He said, see, I can still talk. Don't stop me from talking. I can still talk. And I said, all right, let's try 3 more. Took 3 more. Boom, boom, boom. Stuck them in his mouth. He said, all right, talk now. Monkey said, yeah, I can still talk. It doesn't matter to me. I can still talk. I can stick them in my mouth. Ooh, and I said, all right, 3 more. This will be 9. He stuck them in his mouth. A little hard to get in, but he got him in. He said, all right, still talk. Monkey said, yeah, I can still talk. It doesn't bother me. I can still talk. And I said, all right, you got 1 more now. I'm going to try this one. So he picked it up. Monkey stuck it in his mouth. Now, this is really hard to do. It's like, oh, yeah, you hungry? Got it in there, and I said, all right, now talk. And the monkey said, Anansi said, wonderful. He spun a web around that monkey, took it up to the sky god, and said, Sky god, I have brought you a crocodile with no teeth. I have brought you an empty hornet's nest. Now I have brought you a monkey who cannot talk. Can I have the stories now? And Naomi said, you know what? I've heard stories about how clever you are. Now you have shown me. Anansi, you are clever and sly, and therefore you have done what I've asked you to do. I will give you all of my stories. Naomi took all the stories and put them in a bag and tied a knot around them and gave them to Anansi. Anansi spun his web back down to earth. And when he got down there with that bag of stories, he put them on the ground, he untied the knot, the bag flew open, and all the stories went all over the world. And that is how I got that story. And now I have given it to you. So that's how stories got here, and that's how I got most of my stories from Anansi the spider. And next week, we're going to talk some more about Anansi. So you got to come back and listen again to more Anansi stories in the art of storytelling. Thank you. You've been a wonderful audience. We hope to see you next week. And tell your friends we'll be here. All right? All right. Take care. God bless you.
Welcome to the Felt Center, the Law Boys and Girls Club Felt Center. This event is the Halloween Kitty Cat Parade for ages 3 to 12. All proceeds are going to the Law Boys and Girls Club. Each child's school age is $5.
Thank you. Look at Connie. I'm getting over there with you so I can get on camera too.
One more time. Right on.
dance partner is petrified.
Okay, we're gonna vote. They were all winners to me. We'll go down to see who was the best. So let's first give everybody a hand of applause. Now I'm just looking for the top winner. Okay, I'm gonna hold my hand over their head. Y'all just clap. Yay!
Stay in line. Don't hang on the chair. Okay, hang on the chair. All right, come on. Okay, you all three. Oh, and Molly.
We won the first time.
No, you don't like it. Yeah, all right.
Okay, Mark, this is it. Let's go, y'all. This is the game. Don't touch the chairs. Don't touch the chairs. Hands off the chairs.
He's a hairy-headed gent. Ran among the kids. Lately he's been over in Mayfair. He lives there waiting.
Okay, we got one out. Take away the chairs.
Comes out, Jim. He's there. Werewolves London.
Hands off the chairs. Hands free. Everybody find a seat. Find a seat. Find a seat. Find a seat. Okay, go ahead. All right.
Werewolves.
Everybody look. Make sure you look for an empty seat. Stop. Don't walk away before you check all the chairs.
Werewolves London. So werewolf bring a beating on our trailer bits.
Find a seat. Find a seat. Find a seat. All righty. Okay. All right, here we go again.
Werewolves London.
Keep the line moving. Keep the line moving.
Werewolves London.
Okay, here we go. Keep it moving.
I was working in the lab late one night when my eyes beheld an eerie sight. For my monster from his slab began to rise, and suddenly, to my surprise, he did a monster mash. It was a graveyard smash. It caught on in a flash. He did the monster mash. I love you, Tori.
Find a seat. 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 Did she read this? Okay, let's take a seat.
Where the vampires feast, who came from their humble roots, catch jewels from my electro Seems he was troubled by just one thing. Opened the lid and shook his fist and said, "Whatever happened to my Transylvania twist? It's now the Monster Mash. It's now a graveyard smash. It's caught on in a flash. It's now the Monster Mash." And the monster